YouTube. Today, as it's Sunday, I thought I'd walk you through a bit of a reaction video to somebody that I've been meaning to sort of bring up for quite a while now. Only she's so bleeding annoying that, well, she's always going to be around. She's a bit like a fart in a wardrobe, you know what I mean? She's always there. You go on YouTube, she's there. So, I mean, she gets herself around every boulevard and every souk of every cyber interweb platform that she possibly can. She's everywhere. She's like bleeding damp and mould. Everywhere you go, there she is. There's Teal Swan, Teal Swan, Teal Swan. Every bleeding where. I mean, YouTube love her. They promote her endlessly. The fact that she advocates for people to, well, suicide. She doesn't call it suicide. She calls it hitting the reset button. Obviously, if you got any money before you hit that button, if you could just leave it on the table for dear little Swan, one of them VooTube-viewers. And see, Teal, she's been going for about 10 years now. She reckons she's 40, but she looks every day of 50. She rocks that whole sort of Cruella de Vil look, you know, with the Amber Heard, crossed with Casey Anthony, crossed with Meghan Markle, crossed with Krista Freeland of your bleeding Canada. Dead eyes, nothing going on. She sits there and talks about all, oh yeah, when I was a child, I was in satanic cults, I was. Yes, I was. Yeah, they used to do all these things with like little babies, one thing and another. You know, the old gamut of what they waffle on about, these bleeding retards. Oh yeah, and once when I was 12, one of my stepdads soaked me into a dead body and he left me there for 12 hours. So I was 12 and 12 hours. It's really quite telling, people that lie and just bullshit. And of course, when she's talking about it, she's smiling, her eyes are dead as anything. There's literally nothing going on with her eyes. To be honest, I would say she had psycho eyes. People have been off themselves at her behest. She's really quite a dangerous person. On YouTube, as I say, she's got about about 1 million subscribers on YouTube, but worldwide, she's got a load more people that follow her. She's not religious because she's spiritual, and she's not giving counselling, no, she gets round that one. She's giving new age mentoring. So in other words, you go to her and you pay hundreds of dollars and she'll give you authenticity workshops, VooTube. Authenticity, where have we heard that bleeding word before? So anyway, she's like every other bleeding clan. She's a bit like Anne Hamilton Byrne from Australia, you know, that clan, that bleeding, what's it, cult in Australia, that I think they were called the Family. And then you've got the Charlie Manson cult, haven't you? I mean, if you cross them two together, you've got Teal Swan and you've got what they call, you know, like Meghan Markle, she's got the Sussex Squad. Well, this Swan character has got what they call Tealers. And they're just sort of, well, they're basically fangirl her and fanboy her and crush on her and love her and send her money and hang on every word she says. And I mean, even though she's got 100 million subscribers, she's got enough money now through her weeblings to buy subscribers. So, I mean, not everybody that watches anything is subscribed. You don't have to be subscribed anywhere to watch her stuff. So either she's getting loads more people watching her that aren't subscribed, or she generally has got 1 million deluded, vulnerable, weak-minded people that follow her because she pretends to have an answer to something. Most of her stuff, as I say, she's semi-clad when she talks to her conferences. She does the whole Kenny Everett thing with her legs going all over the place so everyone gets a tasteful glimpse of her gash VooTubers, you know, like these gurus do. And she keeps them all spellbound with her bullshit stories of satanic abuse when she was young and all one thing and another and how sad it was. And she's half alien because her mum shagged an alien. And then when she came down to Earth and she got reborn onto this planet, she also had the spirit of a dead Indian subcontinent mystic guru, some Hindu guru that's been dead for ages. Yeah, she's got his spirit as well, VooTubers. Yeah, she's probably got his money as well, knowing her. Anyway, so there she is, she's in her little David Blimmin Koresh Waco-style compound with her little followers, her little Tealers, the little disciple people. And she just had this bleeding documentary, I think it's called In Deep or Deep End or some load of old bullshit. That's what it should be called, bullshit. But anyway, she's got this documentary made about her, and in there you see that she's living in this compound with, well, most of the people that live there, the male ones, she's slept with, to be fair. She's got an ex-boyfriend living there with Blake, who she was with 16 years ago, and he sent us in this documentary because Blake has the temerity, after 16 years of hanging off her every bleeding word, to actually find love somewhere else and want to leave. So you really do see the narcissist actually melt down and the vicious vitriol and poison coming out of this goddess's mouth is quite amazing. So anyway, so there she is there. She went out with Blake for about a year, 16 years ago, and he's just carried on living there and probably going without any sort of loving relationships or intimate, close relationship during the prime of his life, because he's been wasting his bleeding life and air and every bleeding atom of his being hanging around this ridiculous fake charlatan. It's a horrible bleeding witch of a woman. And so anyway, that's what happened. And like she explains in there, and she's very good at giving relationship advice. Yes, she does relationship workshops, she does, and seminars. Yeah. Or if you're not getting on in a relationship, or you want to know how to get a better relationship going, well, just go to one of her bleeding do's. Yeah, pay a few $100s or a few £100 if you're in Britain, and you can listen to her bullshit. She'll put you right. Because in these 16 years she was living in the compound with this Blake, who she went out with for a year, in her own words, in the 16 years, she had 13 other relationships. 5 of them were marriages in the 16 years. Now, vous two-furs, if in 16 days I've had 13 meals and 5 of them were bleeding banquets, don't you just know that I've been tucking in and having a snack in between? Don't you just know that? And that's what she puts me in mind of. She's a little Mary. She breaks the women. The women that go to her, some of them are suicidal, some of them are self-harming, or they have suicidal ideation thoughts and this sort of thing. Some of them are actually really, really bereaved. There's a chap in there. He's been hanging off her for bleeding years. His mum committed suicide, and then he got on the internet and he found this absolute aphid, this absolute termite of a woman who seemed to offer him something. Well, like most men, he was just bamboozled by her bosoms, really, wasn't he, to be fair, and those legs flipping around like a bleeding fish on a riverbank. But anyway, so he's got himself down to the workshop. I can't think what his name is, I think it might have been Jared. But he was so deeply depressed. I mean, if you watch it, you can see he's so depressed. He's literally on a knife edge of bursting into tears every minute, just falling in tears every minute. I mean, a deep, severe depression he's got. And she, for the cameras, pretends to care and says, oh, well, what's the matter with you then, like Jared? And he says, because he's been hanging off her for years, he says, I think I like some more intimacy. I would like to have some personal human contact with somebody, because that's another thing. They're not allowed to have any relationships amongst themselves per se. This all goes through Teal. So as being like the guru and the mystic cult leader, you know. So, she said, well, I'm shocked at that. He said, well, I just feel that I'd like to be intimate with you. Because the poor guy's been hanging around her for so bloody long. He's thought to himself, well, you've banged everybody else around this compound. What's the matter with me? And at the end of the day, she sells herself as a lifestyle guru. She's a compassionate queen, she is. And in the next shot of her, or the next bit of her, the next thing they go to episode or whatever, there she is, in her bleeding little compound, in one of her little witchy coveny rooms where there's loads of bunk beds, because that's probably where all her followers all sleep in bleeding bunk beds. And she's probably in a luxury bleeding apartment with sunken baths and one thing and another, you know. All the same stuff, the Billy Graham, the David Koresh, they're all the same, they're no different. They follow the exact same time frame, don't they? Exact same framework, all of these bleeding gurus. So there she is, yeah. Oh, she says, I feel violated, I do. How dare he say that he wants to be intimate? Well, oh, dearie dear, clutch my pearls. Oh, my days, I'm 40-something, look, 50-something, and now I'm going to act like a bleeding virgin, even though I've been shagging my way through the bleeding, all my followers all these years. Yes! So there you go, that's your bleeding Teal Swan, bloody little madam. And the funny thing is that the way I look at it, and I've watched loads, oh my God, it's so boring. It's just like droning on. I'll give you an example. She comes out with the most biggest load of old bullshit. Are you going to empower yourself? You're going to find yourself through self-empowerment and authenticity. When she's not talking about satanic ritual abuse and being an alien and being fantastic and having an IQ higher than anybody else's because it's more than genius level. She's got an IQ higher than bleeding Einstein, and she didn't need to go to college and do any high school or university. She doesn't need qualifications because she is the most cleverest person she's ever met. So case closed, really. Yeah, that's your Teal Swan. She's an absolutely brilliant person. Yes, she is. She's a brilliant con artist, and she's brilliant at wheedling people around her that can, well, they can weld a camera, they can do a bit of editing, and they're quite good at doing fancy blimmin' voiceovers and how to put up little bits and make little videos for her that make her seem a little bit more authentic than what she is, because she's as phony as shit like they all are, these people. The average age of the people that go there, they're below 40, which is the really scary thing. And as I've already said, she's actually been responsible for somebody ending their own life. And she sort of goes along with it, but it's a really good thing to do, because she says, like, humanity is dead set, or humanity was always destined to extinguish its own self. So that's her theory of life. I mean, the woman is bonkers. She's bonkers, she's dangerous, and I'll be honest, I've watched her enough now to think she's bleeding psycho. Apart from the fact she's got psycho eyes, she's got that, what's his name, Bundy, that Bundy character, Bundy eyes, Casey Anthony eyes. She's got the textbook bleeding dead serpent eyes. Evil, evil, evil woman, taking these vulnerable people. I mean, some of them are over 40, and I just look at them and think, well, they're obviously really sad, old, bleeding people, hanging off a stupid little tart like that, and believing any of the shit she comes out with. I mean, she makes bleeding David Icke look credible, she does. Do you know what I mean? Bloody woman. So, yes, so I'll keep you posted on Teal, find out what else is going on, and I'll be back here to showcase Teal. And to be honest, I think she's, I think she's been the inspiration for quite a few of our British epidemic we've got at the moment of these mystical gurus like your Charlie Ward, your John Wedger, your Jeanette Archer, your Wilfred Wongs. What's that one, the Greg Hallett that thinks he's a bleeding, what does he think? He's the rightful heir to the throne of Britain or something or other. Stupid bloody bloke. What's that other one, that Brian Rose, another raging narcissist, that one, who we all had to endure during the bleeding lockdown, didn't we? But Teal Swan is definitely one of the worst internet gurus, new age hippy dippy gurus I've ever come across, because she is so dangerous. And the funny thing is, the youngsters, because of the education system nowadays, when they're looking at her, they've been groomed from a very young age by our education system that you don't question, you are just told what to think. And this is the problem. When I was young, you were educated, you were taught to critique things and to have critical thinking and to think about things from this point of view, that point of view, and then reach your own conclusion. Nowadays, it's just off rote. You don't question. You just listen to what I've got to say, take it all in, absorb it, and run with it, because I'm the clever one and you ain't clever. You're being taught and I'm the teacher, the professor, the lecturer, the guru, the mentor. So these kids are really... They're just bunts to her, really. They really are just like cattle to her. And she is a very, very dangerous, and I'd say evil person. And I already know that I'm probably going to get into a load of shit if I mention little Teal Swan. Oh no, because she'll be clutching her pearls, she'll be picking her skirts up and running to the hills now with her hurty feels and everything. But I'll throw my cap in there, because the only people I've seen credibly take her apart and dissect her bullshit have all been the elderly end of old people, and there's a lot of psychologists and psychiatrists on there who should be ashamed of themselves for being quite as kind to her as what they are. They should have took her right apart, because now there's dead bodies now as well, isn't there? So we have to see where that goes. They're just cowards. Oh yeah, Dr. Grande did quite a good thing on her, but we could do with more like that, not covering up for her and trying to be kind. I've heard people say, oh, it might just be me, but I just don't take to her. I've tried to be open-minded, but I just don't buy what she's saying. Look, you don't have to be polite. She's not being polite when she's forcing a mystic guru, Billy bullshit, dangerous indoctrination on people. So, and sometimes it's the only language people like that understand. You have to go at them like, shut the F up. You're full of shit, right? And I don't care who knows it. And it's absolutely okay. People will still like you. And if they don't like you because you don't like Teal Swan, it doesn't matter. You've just missed a bleeding bullet. She's full of shit and you need to stay away from her. You need to have faith in your bleeding self, hold your bleeding head up, hold your chin up and think your own thoughts. Go along a load of things. You don't just go Teal Swan, or Charlie Manson, or Marshall Applewhite, or David Icke. No, you've got to take things in your own stride and find your own way and educate yourself and look through things for yourself. Don't just throw your cap at one mystic guru who is actually, as far as I'm concerned, a psychopath. And she's a very dangerous psychopath as well. And I'm sure I'll be back on here filling you in with some more crap to do with Miss Teal Swan, VooTubers. Anyway, I hope I've elucidated you enough, and I hope that it might be of some help. If you want to go over there and look at the crap she comes out with, good luck to you, but if I were you, I'd put bleeding earplugs in first, because she's so full of bullshit. It's just the inanity of what she comes out with. So, I've got advice for you. This is what she's like. You could go up, just say, metaphorically, you could say to Teal, I've tried tea cold. Could you give me advice on how I can have tea hot? And she would say, what you need to do, you need to put some water in your kettle and you need to boil your kettle. And when you've boiled your kettle, you need to put the hot water into a cup. And while you're about it, put a tea bag in there. That's the sort of level of her intellect. She's as thick as two short planks, as cunning as a dozen foxes, and as evil of any of the psychopaths that I've ever come across in my bleeding life. Really, she is. And the way she's going with this whole suicidal ideation and encouraging it and talking about it as a reset and you're going to be reborn and this, that and the other, and the people that she's got under her little spell, evil, vile and evil. I'm really surprised that YouTube actually platforms her, but hey ho, there you go, say no more. Anyway, bye VooTube, bye.